Do you think without this letter signed at all back in 2020, that would have altered the course of this election? Or rather,
It
the
could
election
have. I
2020?
mean, it's hard to say. The polling shows that had people thought that this was credible. And by the way, the CIA director testified under oath that this document was put together to help Joe Biden in a debate. That it was used in a debate. Joe Biden said 51 intelligence agents wrote a letter stating that the laptop was Russian disinformation. I mean, that was deliberate. It was done, for the sole purpose of giving Joe Biden a political edge in the debate. How is that not a Hatch Act violation? And how is that not something that could be potentially a false statement? They're knowingly deceiving the public by doing this. And that's my concern.
So you wrote this letter to Ray and Garland. What do you want from them, and when do you want it?
I asked for a time date certain that they would get back to me on what they're going to be doing and pursuing some kind of investigation, opening it up, looking into this and seeing what's really happening. This undermines the credibility of the U.S. government. When people think that there is a politicization, when people are using politics, when people are taking a position and wearing jerseys, I think people understand when you've been appointed by a secretary, by the president of the United States, whether it's Christopher Wray, whether it's Merrick Garland and the CIA director, you still owe an allegiance to the United States. You owe an allegiance to the people to be as clear and as unbiased as you can be in light of the circumstances. And this has been historically a problem with these agencies. They're the most powerful agencies in our government, along with the IRS. And yet all of these agencies have been corrupted by politics. We see the IRS agents, again, the same issue that we saw where they're obstructing the investigation by DOJ, by these whistleblowers that came forward under the IRS to show that there were documents and money exchange with Hunter Biden. And yet some of those charges, the worst of them, were not allowed to go forward because of slow walking the ability to get those materials. Had they had access to this laptop, and had they had access to a storage unit that was allowed to be closed when agents were informed the Biden administration that they were onto something, and they were able to get to this storage unit that had documents that presumably could have been damning for the Biden administration or for Biden and his son, those were shut down. And yet the statute of limitations was able to toll, so therefore these claims were not charged against Hunter Biden. We continue to have, whether it's the IRS, the CIA, the Department of Justice, the FBI, these are powerful agencies that have become very partisan, and the American people don't trust them. That's why you see so much disbelief in what they're doing, but yet they can take away the rights of citizens without having any kind of, accountability. And that's why I want to see some accountability out of these agencies. That's why I wrote the letter, start an investigation. Let's look into it. Let's get all of this flushed out. Let's get the truth. What's in this laptop? What was slow walked? What did people say? What was the intention of these agents? Were they misleading? Were these false statements? And were they violating their oath of office, or in this case, in many of them, their contract with the government? Or were they violating this high-level, top-level security clearance that is reserved for a very select few? Were they doing that, and were these violations, and should these people be considered for prosecution?